I always find it really interesting that we're sort of attracted to this idea of aliens and of exploring other planets. Because anybody that does NLP, and I'm sure even those of you that don't, understand that each... So Pony is running, isn't he? Understand that each of us actually internally are a different world from each other. But when we start talking about species, though there are similarities, there are differences that are planetary level difference. He has a whole different way of viewing the world to you and to I. So the first thing to think about is that he's a herd animal. So at the moment, he's distracted because there are horses next door, and there's a lot of horses collecting outside. So for him, what he's looking for his state of comfort, is T.O.T.E. Would everybody like to explain to a non-NLP what a T.O.T.E is?
It's how you know what you want to achieve and testing whether you've achieved it, and if it doesn't work, do something different.
So test, operate, test, exit. Yeah. I do this, does it achieve what I want? If it does, I exit. If I don't, if it doesn't, I'm going to operate again. For the horses, their T.O.T.E is, am I safe? Am I in comfort? Am I safe? Am I in comfort? Am I safe? Am I in comfort? It's very simple. It's far less complicated than we become. So what he's looking for is that place of comfort. Right now, he thinks he's going to find it with the other horses, okay? Because that's the way that he's set up. He's more distracted than I imagined that he would be today. But that's interesting, we just work with what we have. He's also not been very well. He was actually in hospital just 2 weeks ago, and it was very touch and go. So to see him running around and throwing himself about without having any symptoms of coughing, he got a rose bramble caught in his throat. It's quite a wonderful thing. But I'd like to get him settled, so we'll see how we go. So the second piece of information that you need to know about with horses is that they don't see the world in the same way that we do. They run two different pictures, and they have very little central cortex, which means they don't cross over. So basically you can have a wild horse on one side and a tame horse on the other. That's interesting, isn't it? That's an interesting way to think about how your brain would work. As I mentioned before, they're very, very somatically programmed, so all the memories lay down here. I can go back to horses that I haven't seen for 5 years, and within a few minutes of me doing certain movements with them, they go, oh yeah, I remember how to do this. It's like the body just delivers the information to them. Okay? I think you might have heard magpie. Going on. So, what he's looking for at the moment is some form of comfort, and I'm going to keep talking, but I'm going to start moving at the same time. So right now, what he feels like is the comfort that he can find is in the expression of some adrenaline. He's going to check me out. Now, if we were at home, I would say he'd check me out and that would be that. Right now, right here, I think he's going to check a few other things out as well, because he needs to. He needs to know where his best place to put it. So he was still in range. He wasn't with me. He was making a choice, but he wasn't fully with me. Now, see, this I think is really interesting, because this for me is where the coaching becomes really live. I talk about he wasn't really with me. What happens? He leaves me. Okay, I'm just voicing it. I think I'm just voicing it. What am I viscerally communicating to him? Because he is it. And because of his wildness, and I think partly because of the way that I trained him, I was really interested in him to work in a different way than I would with some of my clients, where things need to be at a very deep sort of safety level. I was really curious with him as to how I could train terror to become attention, and then the attention to become a kind of curiosity. so that he maintained a sense of wildness and curiosity about him that was made slightly more articulate than you will find with a rider's horse or some other horses. And in that, he fascinates me because I say things like that and he responds. You know, like colours of water in a colours of droplets of colour in a pool of water. There's just an influence that is incredibly apparent. And then the difference, that's just the feedback. It's not failure, it's feedback. But then it requires me to do something different in order to change the response so that you can witness it. And the difference, some of you may have some, I mean, I've been with you for some time now, Dido. There is, and I have also just noticed buckets. So now I'm tasting again. There is actually contract I have with him now is that I'm going to let him go and eat. Because he's communicating that very clearly to me. I think it's unfair to persist. I could, and I would win, but what's the value in that? What's the meaning in that? What does that engender in our relationship? And that, I think, is an interesting thing to think about when you're coaching or training or teaching or communicating. You know, what does that short-term win mean in the long term? When somebody is actually very clearly communicating their needs to you. Yeah? Was I in the middle of saying something that I've just not finished?
Yes.
Yes? I probably was. Okay. Is there anything that you would like to have clarified at this point before I take him back and invite him to go and have something to eat?
I'd just like to know, are you actually thinking, as you're obviously training about, so when you choose to step or move, is there a conscious thought, i.e., I'm going to call you now, do you consciously think it, or is it more you move with your body first?
Do I consciously think?
So for instance, when he was at the hay and you went over to get him, was there a conscious choice in your thinking, as in, I'm going to get him now, conscious thinking choice, and then you start to move and use your hands?
Before I suggested it to you, I'm running it at the moment. Before I made that suggestion to you, did I consciously think that?
Yeah.
I ran the thought in my head and questioned, is it okay to put it away? What would be appropriate? Is it okay for him? Is it okay for you? So I made that, I kind of articulated that decision internally. Do you mean when I get closer to him?
Yeah, what I'm trying to understand is there a sort of a cognitive aspect to your will around this?
It's really about making the invitation, I think, would be a more honest. It's about, and I'm you can see I'm looking. So one of the things with NLP that people that are experienced will know is that when people look down, they tend to be picking up emotional information. And you'll know this because if I was to ask you how you're reading me, you might say tired or sad, but something of a more emotional nature. Yes? Itchy. So, I'm just trying to retrieve that information for you and give you a really clear answer. It's like I'm asking every cell in my body to really hold that invitation open. You might see me doing it with my hand, but actually that's the tip of the iceberg. The invitation is really what's going on here. Yeah? I don't know that I'm powering all cylinders and saying, now we will make the invitation. But there is definitely an aligning of the cells, an aligning of the congruence. And there's definitely a check that's running to say, is there anything that's out of integrity here? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.